Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Today, Psalm 145, is God kind? Now, he has something to say about it, and we're going to discover how the greatness of God comes home, how it's practically exhibited for us. Write this down. His kindness is what connects his greatness to us. He has to be. Without kindness, we'd be permanently lost. Without kindness, God's greatness would be inaccessible to us. Without God's kindness, God's greatness would be out of reach. Without God bending down to me in kindness, I would not be able to bow down to him in belief. So his kindness is what connects his greatness to us. So in Psalm 145 for the last couple of days, we have been admiring and stretching for and focusing on the greatness of God. Now we had to stretch because it says that God's greatness is unsearchable. That is, it will fulfill all the searches and then some. When you get to the end of your search, there's yet more to be discovered. So then, what good to me is all this greatness of God if it doesn't end up on the spiritual acre that I occupy? So how does all this limitless greatness touch me and all of us personally? So in a sense, God needs more than greatness, at least if he wants to deliver it to the not very great subjects, which is you and me. So that is, I'm saying, postulating here that God needs kindness. So we find this curious characteristic in Psalm 145, that is God's kindness. God is kind. That means showing a tender nature. It's in verse 17, Psalm 145, verse 17. The Lord is righteous in all his ways and kind in all his works. So this is a concept that's closely associated with God's mercy, and God's kindness is an essential quality with God. You need the kindness of God, or you have already needed it. So what if on the day when the flashbulb goes off in your soul, when you become aware of your offense to God, when you are struck with your sin, in the day when you finally agree with God about what he says about it, what if on that particular day you turned to God and you found out that he wasn't kind? What if at that moment when you needed it most, he could not or would not demonstrate a tender nature towards you? What if you needed the Lord's kindness and you found that he couldn't or wouldn't give it to you? You would be up a creek without a paddle. So making things right with God is a complex spiritual process. Let's give him that. He grossly simplifies it for our side of it, but it's very complex. You know, how can God, who never forget sin? How can he take foreigners and make them a part of his family? How can he justly remove the penalties for such transgressions to another? And somehow God does all this heavy spiritual lifting and figures it all out. But if God was not kind, this mercy to you, then the penalty to himself would never take place. But God is great, and he's also gracious. He possesses the ability that we directly and absolutely require, and then he's gracious, and he actually extends it towards us. So his kindness is what connects his greatness to us. So if he was only great, we'd admire it from a distance, shudder in fear maybe. And if he was only kind, he wouldn't have the greatness to do anything about our big problem. So this kindness is what connects his greatness to us. So yes, God is great. He is unsearchably great. Read Psalm 145. Without his kindness, that greatness, in a sense, stands aloof from me. So I need the majesty, but I also need the mercy. I need his greatness, but I also need his grace. God's kindness is what connects us to the capabilities of God. God's kindness is what connects us to the clout of God. God's kindness connects the orphan to a family. God's kindness connects the wanderer to the wonder. God's kindness connects the sinner to the Savior. God's kindness is what connects his greatness to us. So let's review. It stands in Psalm 1, 145, verse 17. I'll read it again. The Lord is righteous in all his ways and kind in all his works. So the Lord is kind. It is in a big psalm about the greatness of God. That comes from the verse, great is the Lord, greatly to be praised, and his greatness is unsearchable. So God is great beyond our abilities to fully understand, beyond our abilities to search that out fully. So yes, absolutely yes, we should stand and admire the greatness of God. Yes, we should worship and recognize the possessor, the person of these powers. But we should not stop there in our understanding. Say, wait, Lord, you are great, but you're also gracious to me. You're infinitely capable, but also kind to me. You're wondrously competent, but you're also kind to my people. So kindness is how we access this clout. Kindness is how the greatness comes home to us. Kindness is what connects his greatness to us. So what should I do in conclusion with the greatness of God? Worship. You are great, but you're also gracious. You are unsearchable, but you're also tender. Lord, you have all this clout, all this power, but you're kind to us. Thanks for listening.